People think the hardest part of falling is the scandal. They think once people stop whispering, life becomes peaceful again. They think once church forgives, shame disappears forever. And maybe once you heal spiritually, the rest automatically fixes itself. They are wrong. Because while grace can cleanse your soul, life still hands you bills, responsibilities, lonely nights, and questions nobody can answer for you. And Stella learned that the slowest wounds are not public ones. They are the silent ones life brings later. The kind no pastor sees. The kind people don't gather to analyze. And the kind you walk through alone. Months turned into years. Stella herself slowly found her footing. Her faith was alive again. She wasn't that case anymore. But she was Stella with a child. The child was growing, running, laughing, talking, and loving his mother deeply. They became a beautiful team. School runs, homework on the table, church programs, small birthday with cake and joy. If you walked into their house, you would see love, you would see laughter. But deep in Stella's chest, fear lived quietly like an uninvited tenant. What happens when he starts asking questions? What will I say? When he asks about his father, will I lie? Will I watch him hurt? Will society break his heart? Will people call him names? And another voice kept burning silently. Will any man ever love me again? Yes, God restored her. Yes, the church embraced her. Yes, her mother supported her. But society? That one doesn't forget quickly, and Stella knew it. Time passed, she glowed differently. She became more mature, stronger, calmer, even more beautiful in quiet way. The kind of beauty pain refines. And eventually, men started approaching again. Some from work, some from recommendations, some just life connections. They liked her. They found her gentle, intelligent, funny, godly. Until one sentence entered the conversation, I have a child. Sometimes there was a long pause followed by fake reassurance. Sometimes shock splashed across their eyes. Sometimes maturity disappeared and reality stepped in. Some said, you didn't mention this earlier. This is complicated. I respect you, but I'm not ready for single mother responsibility. I like you, just not this situation. Some didn't even bother to explain. They simply vanished. Calls stopped, messages reduced, interest died. They liked her, but not her package. They wanted her, but not her truth. They wanted romance, not fatherhood extension. And every time one left, she smiled, acted fine, held her dignity, and later cried silently. Not because she was desperate or because she couldn't live without a man, but because it hurt to feel like her child made her too difficult to love. Pain has grades, and that one, it's deep. Mama Stella always noticed. She never pushed marriage. She never rushed her. She simply reassured. God is not through with your story. Your journey is not ending in rejection. Your child is not a barrier. He is part of your destiny. The right man will honor both of you. And Stella believed most days. But there were nights she hugged her son to sleep and asked God quietly, what if my life remains like this forever? By the time her son turned 4, he wasn't a baby anymore. He wasn't pity material. He was a person with thoughts, with identity, with awareness, smart, energetic, playful, sharp-mouthed, full of light. He played football in the compound. He laughed loud. He ran carelessly like he owned the world. Until one afternoon, the world reminded him he didn't. The gate banged, little feet running. Then tears, deep, heartbroken tears. Mommy! He ran straight into her arms, shaking, face soaked. What happened? Talk to me. They called me. He swallowed hard. They called me bastard. The word stopped. Sound disappeared. Stella's hand froze mid-stroke on his back. Her heart shattered into silent pieces. It happened. The day she prayed against. The experience she feared. The label she hoped her child would never face. He continued crying. They said, I don't have a daddy. They said, I'm not normal. Mommy, where's my daddy? If pain could choke, it choked her that moment. Her lips shook, words refused to form. Her eyes clouded. But she couldn't cry, not now. She had to be strong. She swallowed heartbreak and forced steadiness. He traveled. His small eyes searched hers, desperate for reassurance. When is he coming back? Her throat tightened. Soon, you will meet him soon, very soon. He nodded slowly, too innocent, too trusting. He hugged her tightly. She held him like she was holding her own oxygen. That night, when he finally slept, Stella quietly broke. She cried because her child had now entered a war he didn't ask to fight. And more than ever, she needed one thing: answers, real ones. One afternoon, a knock echoed at the door. Stella opened it, and the word paused. Bisi stood there, older, more mature, a little different. For a brief second, neither spoke. Memory screamed louder than words. The party, the blood, the mess. 2 pairs of eyes held 1,000 emotions. Stella. Her voice broke on the second syllable. Stella didn't slam the door, didn't yell, didn't even frown. She just breathed deeply and stepped aside. Come in. They sat. Silence sat too. Bisi's eyes scanned the room slowly. The framed little boy photos on the shelf, a school bag by the corner, tiny sneakers near the chair. Reality hit her hard. So, it's true, she whispered. You had a child? Stella said nothing. She didn't owe explanations, not today. Bisi swallowed. Tears gathered instantly. Stella, please, I need you to listen. Even if you don't forgive me today, at least hear me. Stella nodded slowly. I'm listening. Bisi inhaled shakily. 3 weeks after the party, I left the country. Everything happened so fast. My parents had been processing my master's program for Canada secretly, trying not to jinx it. The approval came suddenly. In less than a month, I was gone. New country, new school, new life, new pressure. Everything was overwhelming. She blinked hard. I didn't know you were pregnant. I didn't know anything happened to you. I thought life just continued normally for everyone after that night. I called you the first few weeks when I settled in. Your line wasn't reachable. I tried again and again. Then life swallowed me. Studies, work, immigration struggles, trying not to drown. Her voice cracked. I should have tried harder. I should have done more. I should have fought to stay connected. That's my shame. That's my failure. A tear finally escaped. I didn't run because I knew you were in trouble. I didn't disappear because I didn't care. I genuinely didn't know. And when I came back recently and heard everything, I realized what you went through. She covered her face and cried quietly. I felt like the worst friend God ever created. Stella looked at her, not angry, not cold, just deeply tired. You weren't here when my word broke. I know. Bisi nodded immediately, tears flowing freely. And I will never forgive myself for that. I have replayed it in my head. What if I was around? What if I could have stopped you from going there? What if I had been here when everything crashed? Maybe nothing would have changed. Maybe everything would have. I don't know, but you shouldn't have gone through all that without me. I am so sorry, my friend. Still no drama, no shouting, just raw truth between 2 women who once laughed together like life would never shake them. Stella sighed. You hurt me, she said quietly. Not because you left the country, but because when I looked around for the one friend who understood that night the most, you were gone, and gone without a trace. Bisi nodded like someone accepting a deserved punch. You're right, I failed you. And I'm not here to pretend I didn't. I'm here now, not to dig old wounds, but to stand beside you however I can, if you let me. Then, Stella said the one thing that mattered now. That night, do you remember the guys around me? Bissy blinked away tears. Her brain rewound. Yes, two of them, Frank and John. They didn't leave your side for long. Hope, fear, possibility all rose silently in the room. Bissy, Stella whispered, voice shaking just a little. Help me find them, please. Not for drama, not for scandal, not to drag anyone, just truth. My son deserves truth. Bissy straightened. I will help you. I promise you, Stella. This time, I'm not going anywhere until we find him. And for the first time in years, Stella didn't feel like she was walking alone anymore. Because sometimes, friendship fails. Sometimes, life scatters people. Sometimes, time separates. But real love, real friendship, finds its way back eventually. And this return wasn't coincidence. Destiny had just opened the next door. Finding a biological father isn't the same as finding a name. It is tracking memory. It is chasing shadows. But Stella's heart had reached a point where fear didn't matter anymore. Truth mattered. Her son's identity mattered. And this time, she wasn't walking alone. Bissy was here, and she wasn't going anywhere. The night Bissy left Stella's house, her heart didn't rest. Her mind replayed that party over and over again. Faces, voices, moments, laugh, music, confusion, blurry details. Two names remained constant: Frank, John. She started dialing old numbers. Some were switched off, some no longer existed. Some people didn't pick, some had moved away, some acted like they didn't know anything. But determination has a sound, and Bissy carried it. She called friends, old acquaintances, former neighbors. Piece by piece, the past began to open. Finally, she got Frank's number. She dialed. Hello, Frank. It's Bissy. Silence, confusion, then slight recognition. Bissy, from back then? Wow, you disappeared. She didn't waste time. Frank, I need to talk to you. It's about that night. He laughed casually. That laugh irritated her. That night? That was years ago. What about it? I need to see you, please. They agreed to meet at a quiet restaurant. He walked in confident, well-dressed, spending like moving on had been easy for him. Bissy sat upright. She wasn't here for pleasantries. They greeted, sat, ordered water. She didn't waste time. Frank, Stella got pregnant from that night. Everything froze for a moment. He blinked, paused, then leaned back. And instead of shock, instead of concern, instead of, where's she? He exhaled in relief and shook his head. That's not me. Bissy stared. What do you mean? I mean, I didn't touch her. You were there that night. You were close to her. Yes, I was, but I wasn't that drunk. I remember what happened to an extent. John was the one who crossed the line. I left earlier. He didn't. Frank, this is serious. She has a child, a 4-year-old. She doesn't know the father. The child deserves to know where he came from. He leaned forward and lowered his voice. Listen, Bissy, don't drag me into what I didn't do. I may not have been perfect, but I know what I didn't do. I didn't sleep with Stella. John did. If you're looking for truth, that's your direction. He left the restaurant comfortably free, unshaken. But his wife stayed. John, the one she needed to find. Locating John wasn't as easy. He wasn't around. He was no longer in the country. People said different things. Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. Until finally someone said, he's in the UK now. Bissy eventually got a contact. Her hands shook, dialing it. It rang. He picked. Hello. Deep, different, but definitely John. Bissy inhaled deeply. It's Bissy. Silence, then mild shock. Wow, long time. You vanished. No, you did. He chuckled slightly. What's up? She didn't waste time. John, we need to talk. It's about that night. What about it? That night led to something serious. Stella got pregnant. She has a child. He's 4 now. And John, she swallowed. You are most likely the father. He laughed. Not disbelief laughter, mockery laughter. Bissy, don't be ridiculous. Please don't ever call me about nonsense like this again. This is nonsense. This is... He cut her off sharply. I said, don't ever call me again. I don't know what story you are building, but don't drag my name into rubbish. The line went dead. She tried to call again, blocked. And that was it. John disappeared again. Bisi dropped her phone slowly, angry, disappointed. Bisi decided to fight this time. Maybe years ago, she hadn't fought enough. Maybe life took her away from responsibility, but not this time. She wasn't backing out. She wasn't leaving Stella to drown. She did what only someone who truly cared would do. She traced John's parents. It took weeks, a lot of asking, a lot of tracking. Finally, she found them. A respected home, a godly home, pastors, parents who served God faithfully, but were deeply wounded by a son who kept disappointing them. They agreed to see her. When she arrived, they were polite, curious, calm. She greeted, sat, then she spoke. Everything. That night, that party, the pregnancy, the rejection, their denial, the blocking. She didn't exaggerate. She simply told the truth. Silence filled the room afterward. John's father's face hardened, not in anger at Bisi, but in disappointment at his son. His mother covered her mouth slowly. Tears, not because of the scandal, but because mothers know when destiny is calling responsibility. John's father finally spoke. We trained this boy to fear God. He has fought us for years. We sent him abroad when we couldn't control his behavior anymore, hoping distance would develop wisdom. And this is what he has been hiding from us? There was sadness, but also resolve. Then they said something unexpected. We need to see the child, not to accuse, not to argue, to face truth. When John's parents walked into Stella's home, the first thing they saw was a child playing quietly, happy, bright, innocent. Their eyes widened, not because he looked like John, not because they recognized facial features, but because it looked like someone else entirely. John's grandfather. Same eyes, same head shape, same subtle expression. Even his smile carried a familiarity they couldn't deny. John's father covered his mouth slowly. His wife burst into tears instantly. Jesus, this is Grandpa's face. They turned to Stella gently. Please, when did you give birth to him? Stella mentioned the year. They froze. That same year, John's grandfather died. Same period, same season. They didn't argue. They didn't demand DNA first. They didn't doubt. Truth was standing in front of them breathing. John's mother went close to Stella. We are sorry for everything, for our son, for the pain, for the shame, for the years you stood alone. Please, forgive us. Stella cried. Not sadness, release, acceptance, validation, closure, even if it wasn't complete yet. John's father placed his hand gently on the boy's head. This child is ours. We will take responsibility. We will not fail twice. They promised support, school, welfare, presence, family. They exchanged numbers, they hugged, and they left. John's parents didn't just sympathize or promise, they acted. From that day forward, they didn't treat Stella like an outsider or a mistake their son made. They treated her like family. They checked up on the boy, they sent money, they bought food, supplies, they supported schooling, they visited occasionally, they prayed over him. Mama Stella watched her home slowly transform from a battlefield of tears into a place with warmth, hope, and dignity again. She smiled differently now. She laughed freely again. She held her grandson proudly. And Stella, for the first time in a long time, she breathed deeply. Her son would not grow up fatherless anymore. He had identity. He belonged somewhere. But there was still one missing piece. John himself, the man who caused it all. The father who still didn't know because he chose not to know. 6 months passed. 6 months of support, restored dignity, and emotional healing. Then John's parents decided it is time. They didn't tell him. They didn't warn him. They didn't hint anything. So they created a simple plan, a reason to invite him home. a family matter, a concern, a come home for a while, we miss you kind of tone. And it worked. One evening, John stepped back into the country, still sharp, still confident, still carrying the carefree pride of someone who believed he had escaped responsibility. He hugged his parents casually. He ate, he laughed, he settled. He didn't know destiny was waiting patiently for him in that house. 2 days later, they called him to the sitting room. Serious faces, calm voices, heavy atmosphere. "John, sit." He sat slowly. "What's going on?" His father exhaled. "There is something you need to know. Something your choices created, but your silence has refused to face." He frowned. "What are you talking about?" His mother's eyes were already watery. "John, you have a child." There was silence. He laughed hard. "What kind of joke is this? Which child? From where?" His father didn't change tone. "From that night you went to a house party you shouldn't have been at. From the same night you ignored our warnings and followed foolishness. From that same night a child entered this world." John stood up. "No, don't do this. Don't drag me into rubbish. I don't have any child." His father remained calm. "You were contacted." He swallowed, voice raised. "And I said it's a lie." His mother wiped tears. "So you blocked her? You blocked truth. You blocked responsibility." He paced. "I don't know what anybody is saying. I don't know any pregnancy. Nobody told me anything. Nobody showed me proof. That girl is lying. She just wants to..." His father raised his hand gently. "No need to argue further. Since you believe strongly you have no child, we will do DNA." The room went silent. John froze. His father continued. "We have met the child. We have seen him. We have seen God's stamp resemblance on his face. But still, you want scientific closure? We will give you scientific closure. No problem. Stella will come. The boy will come. We will do DNA. If the result proves you right, we close the matter forever. If it proves you wrong..." He looked at his son deeply. "Then you will stand up and become the man God expects you to be." And just like that, the date was fixed. The hospital was quiet that day, clean, bright, neutral. But everyone's hearts were loud. Stella walked in with her son. Calm outside, storm inside. John walked in stiff, defensive, trying to appear unbothered. Their eyes met. Not hatred, not hostility, just history and reality. The test was done. Then came the waiting. The kind of waiting that feels like time is crawling on its knees. And finally, the result came. The doctor didn't dramatize. He didn't sugarcoat. Result is positive. "John, you are the father." For the first time, John couldn't speak. His chest rose slowly. His jaw tightened. His eyes watered. But pride fought tears. Reality landed. This wasn't rumor. This wasn't accusation. This was truth. His father exhaled heavily, like a man finally allowed to breathe after months of holding air in his chest. John swallowed hard, walked slowly towards Stella, paused, then whispered, "I am sorry." Not rehearsed, not poetic, not dramatic, broken. "I didn't know. I didn't realize what that night cost. I didn't think. I was angry at life, angry at expectations, angry at pressure. I was drunk, not just with alcohol, but with foolishness. I hurt you. I abandoned you. I denied responsibility. And I left my child without identity." For a moment, Stella didn't speak. She watched him, measured him, saw sincerity, saw regret. And without theatrics, she nodded, not because pain vanished, not because memories erased, but because forgiveness had already been planted in her long before he arrived. He knelt slightly, looked at his son. The boy hid shyly behind Stella. John's voice cracked. "I am your father. I am so sorry for being absent." The little boy didn't understand the depth, but he saw sincerity. Children know sincerity. He stepped forward slowly, and John hugged him, soft, carefully, like someone holding a second chance. From that day, everything changed again. John didn't run. He stayed present. He bonded with his son. He called frequently when away. He contributed financially. He showed interest. He carried responsibility. Not perfectly, but sincerely. His parents supported consistently, willingly, joyfully, and life began to look stable, beautiful even. But that's when another unexpected story began in Stella's life. Because restoration doesn't mean life stops testing you. With time, Stella met someone, good man, responsible, educated, calm, spiritual, gentle. He knew her story. He didn't judge. He accepted her child. He loved her maturity. He admired her strength. Slowly, friendship grew into courtship. Courtship grew into engagement. Wedding plans started. Families met. Church preparations began. Hope blossomed again. Maybe this was the happy ending. Maybe this was God fulfilling promises. Maybe finally, Stella would wear white for joy instead of shame. But storms don't always come from outside. Sometimes they come from character. Gradually, something began to show. Not fist, not insult, not violence. Something worse. A proud tongue with a judgmental heart. Whenever disagreements arose, instead of solving issues maturely, he used her past as a weapon. You're lucky I'm even considering you. Do you think most men would marry someone like you? Don't forget your record. I'm not like other men who would run. Behave yourself. I'm not those boys you played around with. No matter what, remember you already fell once. Respect me. Little stabs, subtle belittling, words shaped like knives. Stella tried to endure. She tried to excuse it as stress. She tried to believe he would change. No relationship is perfect. Maybe I am too sensitive. Let me just be patient. Until one evening, argument rose. Nothing deep, nothing life-threatening, just a misunderstanding. But the man exploded, and he said words that broke her like no gossip ever did. I'm doing you a favor. With your kind of past, who do you think will marry you? If you leave me, you will return to being that careless and loose girl with a child out of wedlock. Behave yourself. Something inside her snapped. Not anger, clarity. She walked away that night, straight to her mother, and Mama Stella did what only healed mothers can do. She didn't tell her to manage. She didn't advise endurance in foolishness. She didn't prioritize wedding over peace. She held her daughter and said, marriage is not escape. Marriage is not reward. Marriage is not thank you for accepting me. Marriage is destiny. If respect doesn't exist now, it will not grow later. If he already uses your past to control you, tomorrow he will destroy you. Call it off. Fear shook Stella. Shame threatened her. What will people say after engagement, after fixed plans, after public announcement? What if I never find someone else? She cried, she battled, she prayed. Then courage stood up inside her. She called it off. No drama, no public scandal, just truth. And as expected, people talked, some mocked, some exaggerated, some judged. But peace returned, and peace is more important than reputation. During this season, something interesting began happening quietly. John changed, not fake adjustment, not forced spirituality, not personality replacement, real maturity. He grew close to his son deeply. He respected Stella genuinely. He apologized repeatedly when needed. He remained consistent, patient, thoughtful. He didn't rush. He didn't pressure. He didn't manipulate. He simply stayed present. Then one day, he relocated back home permanently. Not because of guilt, but because he wanted to build real relationship with his child and rebuild his life the right way. He started visiting more, checking on Stella often, helping where he could, offering support not as obligation, but as partnership. Slowly, friendship grew, not forced, not rushed. Conversations deepened, trust rebuilt, healing strengthened. Feelings didn't jump in suddenly. They walked in gently. Respect bloomed first, honor followed, affection came naturally, and one day, John finally asked, "Can we start again properly?" Not because of the child, not because of pressure, but because I have grown, because I value you, because I see you differently now, because I want to build intentionally this time. He didn't ask alone, he asked with accountability, with sincerity, repentance, and with evidence of change. Her mother prayed, pastors counseled, Stella listened to God, not fear. And after time, after watching consistency, after healing truly settled, she said yes. Not because life forced them together, but because God rewrote a broken script. And sometime in the future, they didn't just attend a wedding, they attended a testimony, not of perfection, but of fall, pain, grace, restoration, maturity, second chances, and most importantly, a child who once cried, "Where is my daddy?" now proudly ran into strong arms shouting, "Daddy!" No fairy tale, no unrealistic magic, just God turning disgrace into glory in his own slow, intentional, beautiful way. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please give it a like, share it with your friends and your loved ones. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.